Okay. About chat. I think everything should be okay. Let me just check my audio here. My camera is getting worse every day. About chat. Okay, this should be okay. My camera just looks terrible. What if I... Properties... It's a bit better. It's still strange looking, but that's okay. Hello, welcome to the stream. I hope everybody's doing well. I know it's a little bit unannounced, but I said if I had some time during the week I would stream some more, so that's what we're doing today, and I'm just going to be producing. I'll play through the song so we can get an idea of the song, and then we'll just continue adding elements to it. So this is a collaboration that I'm doing. So some of these sounds like are audio, and I cannot actually edit them or show you how they're made. Yeah, okay. Depending on how creative I feel, I might actually go to the other project as well later, depending on if I like where this project is going. The waves wonders on vocals. The blue eye.
Welcome. What you are about to experience is thousands of images.
I need to set this up in a way that
What you are about to
works for me
experience is
though.
thousands of images that have been created by
Right now, as you can see, we're doing like
This
minus
is
20
done through an
dB.
ancient technology known as a dream machine.
I just want this to
You give the
slightly
machine
glue
a
it
text
together.
prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. For this is a tool. What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. This is done through an ancient technology.
If I remember correctly, I have a MIDI audio effect that allows me to... I think it's this one. This allows me to gain stage, basically. I don't remember exactly how this works, but I'd like to gain stage this so I can see the difference. So this would be the receiver? No, this.
What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind.
So I get minus
This is
3.
done through an
I can turn
ancient
this down by
technology
like...
known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool.
I want to set this
What
up
you
in a
are
way
about
that I
to
don't really need
experience is
this.
thousands of images that have been.
And then I can just turn this off and I can bypass and unbypass to see what this actually sounds like.
What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind.
The idea is that
done through an ancient
this kind of
technology
compression
known
just kind
as
of
a
glues
dream
vocals
machine.
together. I might need to play a little bit with the attack and release.
What you are about to experience
I want
is
this to be
thousands
slow,
of images that
right?
have been
Because this is
created by
gluing.
mind. This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear.
Okay, then there's also the all button, which is
What you are
apparently...
about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind.
Yeah, it makes it louder.
What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. What you are about to experience.
Also the other ratio button seems to be a bit louder. So that's annoying.
What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream.
I guess what I would like to know is the standard for vocals with an 1176. Maybe I should look this up. Just quickly check. Setting 1176 on vocals. It's just like a web page. I want to see the idea behind it, how people tend to use it. Work backwards. That's something I know. Set attack to 10 o'clock and release to 2 o'clock. Set 5 o'clock, yes. So slow attack, faster release is like the standard, but this Greg guy, who I don't know who that is, tends to do it differently. It's going to improve almost anything you put on it. Obviously that's for the official one, this is the emulation. More incoming signals to be compressed. You turn up the input knob, the harder you hit, the more compression you'll get. Then of course there's the ratio button. Compress sound even with the ratio at lowest 4:1. Setting the fastest release time. Okay, so if this is behind the paywall, then I'm not going to use this. Two of them subtle into hard. Let's try something like that. I do want this to be kind of crushed and full. Right now it feels a little bit lacking to me.
By mind.
So that means
This is done through an ancient technology
if we want
known as
little
a
compression, we would turn this down.
by mind.
I'm just
This
looking
is
here
done through an ancient
for like a few
technology.
dB. As I said, it's like a bit of gluing, and then here we could go with the high release as that document said. Let's just see.
By mind.
And just-
This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine.
okay, I need to turn the
You
output
give
down
the
to match
machine a
this.
text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not. What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind.
Okay, it's still a little bit.
What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine.
It's a there's a little bit of like background noise in there. Yes, the knob is the other way around. If you want it faster, you turn it up instead of down. So this is not a millisecond readout. This is like a speed readout, basically. The higher the speed, the faster the attack goes up or down. I know my basics about this compressor here, but I've never really like dove into it and actually use it. on vocals like this. So that's why I'm doing this. That's also why in the title it says that I'm experimenting with plugins. Today I want to do with a few different plugins, just a few different things to get them to know more.
This
Also,
is
welcome
done through
everybody.
an ancient
It's nice to see
technology known as
all of the
a
regulars
dream
here.
machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult
It's a
vision.
nasty low harmonic somewhere in there.
Do not fear, for this is a tool.
It's this one.
This
here.
is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine.
There's another one
This
there.
is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool. Welcome. What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return,
Nice.
you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool.
Okay, so that's the vocals done, at least for now. So as I said, I want to play around with different plugins that I usually don't use. So one of the plugins that I usually do not use is this one here. This is an emulation of the virus, I believe, Mode C. Yeah, the ROM-loaded Access Virus C, as you can see here. I don't know the differences. I believe the TI has like more channels or something like that. Don't quote me. I don't have a virus, so I wouldn't know. And I know that there's people in chat who do, so maybe they can enlighten us. But this basically loads the ROM or the software of the original virus as plugin form. So all of the knobs are the same, and it's just as a plugin instead of a hardware synth. So the reason why I never use this is because this plugin just consumes a lot of CPU for what it needs to do. Obviously there's a lot of DSP calculations that normally get done within the synth itself that now have to also happen in the plugin. Because the virus it's a strange plugin in that you have, or it's a strange synth in that you have like the hardware synth and then as well the plugin that you use to actually control it. It's not like a hardware synth like a Moog or something that you have knobs that you can do everything, I believe. Or maybe you can. And there's like also a plugin to control it. But I believe the cool thing about the original virus is that you just open it up as a plugin, but it's like a hardware synth. So it can do more because it has more processing power. It basically offloads the processing to, you know, the hardware unit.
Welcome.
So let's just play a little bit with this, see what we can get here. So there's oscillators 1 and oscillators 2. I don't know why it's more than a single oscillator, why this is plural, but okay. Maybe it's because you can choose between different waves here. But right now I just want oscillator 1 here. Just see what we can get out of it. It does have like a classic sound, right? The virus. For psytrance especially. The TI had format complex stuff and some other things. Yeah, I know there's like 5-6 different versions, but I've heard they're all pretty much identical. So I don't know what's up with it. Okay, so here you basically just select your waveform. And then there's an FM oscillator as well. Which do not seem to be perfectly synced. Okay, so you can off like off sync it basically with the detune, right? So then you get that like wobble, which is pretty cool. There's a third oscillator, which I assume is like a sub, and then there's unison. Okay, that's pretty basic. So this is all oscillator stuff, and then there's, wait, so I can mix between the two top oscillators and then add a third oscillator in there, and then have a separate sub as well. I'm just getting familiar with the controls here. As I said, I haven't used this like at all. But we're already getting kind of the classic FM sounds that this particular synth is known for in psytrance. And there's effects. Let's try some of these here. Bit reducer, rate reducer, rectifier, shape. This is bass. Okay. There's some LFOs. Sample and hold. I would see if we can set this to 1/16 and then take LFO 3 and send it to the phaser. Phaser depth. There's some smoothing on this. Maybe I should take LFO 1. Wait. Okay, so there's one slot with... I'm just seeing what's going on here. There's different amounts of slots or different amounts of destinations here. So for example, I can set this to the volume, and this should then something like that, yeah. Also, this is all automatable, by the way. You can see right here, if I move this a little bit. So even if you don't know the mod matrix, you could still do like modulation outside in Ableton, or you can automate things. Like if I was to use this in the track, say that right here, right? I would say, for example, go down and up. This is not something I would do with an LFO, right? I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this sound. It's just experimentation at this point. We have a chorus. Which almost sounds like a reverb. Can I sync this as well? Or would we turn this also all the way down then? I guess it does sound pretty cool, pretty different from anything that I have. What if we use the delay here? We clock it 3/8. I'm assuming that if I want ping pong mode, then this is it. Do I need to set to 160? Huh? Is my ear just off with the timing? Wait. Yeah. I'm just stupid. I thought that the timing was like halved, but that isn't the case. Maybe because of the patch, yeah. Does it have the ring mod? Not here, I think. That's the stages. There's an EQ. Punch. I don't know what this is. There's the vocoder thing in the oscillator tab. Amplifier. Extra saturation. 2 filters. Ring mod, here, yes. Let's quickly turn this off and the mix so we can hear what it's actually doing. In the effects, I'm going to turn these mixes down. I guess this changes the texture slightly right now because maybe we're already getting a lot of high end. I'm seeing all of these auxiliary things, by the way, in here, which I assume means that I can take like an auxiliary left channel and use that to FM this oscillator, which would be cool if I know where to send it to there. Assignment amounts, it's not in here, I think. Modulator these are inputs. Again, here you have these aux and in and everything. Wait, there's something in here. This is part of the step sequencer, maybe? So these are all like global things, right? For some reason it has MIDI cables. MIDI out. Don't know why I would send it to there. I guess I can turn the synth off here, which is interesting. I apparently already have a patch for this, which I didn't know. How would I, or do I need to send audio to this? There's a sidechain input. Wait a second. Are you telling me that I can send audio to this? Let's try that out. Do I have Serum on here? No. Just to see how this works, I'm just going to give it a saw wave. Going to send you to 44. Does that mean if I now change this patch that it reacts to that? Let's see if we set this to. It does seem to react to it, but it doesn't do a lot. Why is that? I would like it to do more. Ah, right, it needs to output higher volume. I guess. That makes sense. That's cool. It takes it a little while to get up. What if I do like this? Of course we can play around with this, maybe get some different patterns. Maybe something like this. But that's really cool that you can, in this synth, take an external input and use that as your FM. Not something that I've seen often. I guess we could play with this. I don't like the envelope that I gave it. So this one is fast. It sounds like it skips a little bit, at least to me, doesn't it? Maybe that is because of the modulations that we're doing. I'm also going to turn this into like a plug sound a little bit, just to see what that does. I guess. I guess it doesn't like that a lot. Let's go for like a basic shapes saw. Create some cool sounds at very low frequencies. What if we put like a comb filter on this? Doesn't seem to react too much to it now. I was hoping that by changing this patch we would get more variation. I guess not so much. We are fully on oscillator 2 here. What if we just set this to a simple sine wave and then I guess that does more. Let's see. I think it is out of time here. I think that's the problem. Do you hear how it's like out of sync? It's going to be an Ableton problem, I can already tell you. So we wouldn't be able to just do it within Ableton normally, I think. Although we're getting cool sounds. I'm just trying to learn this here. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. seems to have some synchronization issues still. I don't think that it likes me doing it like that. So let's just set this to wave. Does it say which wave it uses? Does it use this one? Why is there still some detuning going on? Is there detuning on this? No. Or is that just because it does like a little bit of analog sound? All of the effects are off. The ARP is off. I think everything here is off. I don't know why it's not. Do you hear how it's like almost like a flanger effect on there? Is that because I'm triggering? But I'm not, I'm just triggering one note. Let's initialize again, just. I mean, it's still doing it. So maybe that's just part of the synth. Oscillator 1 and 2 play at the same time. Yeah, but I have the balance all the way up, right? So I should just be hearing the tone from the FM of wave 11 against post try. Without any detune, this is looking good. Okay. Okay, so now that we just have like a normal tone. I mean, it's still doing it. I guess that's just the nature of this particular plugin. Right? Or is it because we're still automating? No. Okay. So let's set this back to sample and hold. Mono 1/16. I would like this to be without any smoothing on there. Exactly like that. Nice. It does seem to sometimes just repeat it. What is S and G? Okay, so that's smoothing. There's no other ones here. Do you hear how it's sometimes just not like changing? I know in Ableton you can, or in Serum you can just set. By the way, is this a saw down? I think it was, right? Yeah. It's still doing strange stuff though. Like sometimes it almost sounds like it resets. Maybe because that was 16 notes. Do you also see how it's not... There again, it did the... I don't know, I'm assuming that this just means that it goes up, which is what I want. And then I want no modulation on it. Maybe I should do it like this. Sounds like Fisher, you're losing it. Yes, it's the bass line. Bass line, all the drums. Although this bass line has it more still. It has a little hop in there as well. So I guess that's some similarities. Thank you, Fabian. This might be a sound that we can do something with if I take a band pass. I guess what I could do is just take a normal LFO from Ableton and put this on there. Go a little bit higher. A little bit lower, and then we sync this to 4 bars. I'm not certain about this sound. This is one of those sounds that I'm temporarily just going to leave off. Because it doesn't really feel like it fits the vibe of the track. The vibe of the track is really like built around pads like these, which is what Nicola gave me. So I added stuff like this. This is more what I'm looking for. A whole bunch of like different atmospheres and background pads and stuff like that going around it. And then I'll probably layer synths on top of that. For now, it's pretty empty, to be honest, the track. Doing this cool thing with the sidechaining going up gives it extra groove, but then here like everything falls away, right? I don't know why this sound is... It feels a little bit strange to me, this sound. Maybe we need to do some editing here, but it feels like stretched up in a weird way. Like it doesn't really have a nice texture in my opinion. Although I do like the sound here. I would maybe turn this more into a normal vocal, maybe. Let's have a look at what we can do here. Let's throw on Omnisphere and see if we can kind of remake it, but with a warmer vocal style. I also am going to get a drink pretty soon because I did not actually get my drink from the fridge yet, which I should. Let's go for like an ah sound, which tends to be warmer. Maybe we can layer the two together. Have this be like the lower frequencies from this, and then we layer the crackling high-end, almost artifact-like sounds on top of this. Like a top layer like this. And obviously we would give this the same kind of curve. Maybe do like this.
China is
Oh.
really
What?
China.
Sorry, I'm getting some messages and YouTube opened. Oh, that's my own stream. I'm getting notifications of my own stream. Thank you, YouTube, for letting me know that I'm actually live. Can take just the side chaining from this one. Delete automation, and then we set this to sidechain. Let's combine these two together. I guess we need more of a volume automation on this thing. Like really go like this, and then this went, I believe, 5 dB down and then down. -4. I think I'll add an EQ here just so that I can have a look. This one is still a bit strong. Also has some clicks in the high end. Is that from this one? Yeah. That's probably because what I did with this sample is like cut it up. So I should crossfade this. Not that it matters too much, I could just get rid of the click with an LFO tool, actually. That would have been a bit faster. But that's okay. It really doesn't like the pitch shift that this is doing. I guess this works pretty well. Oh. I should freeze this, because this is one of those 100% feedback delays, which is cool for the sound, because there's all kinds of different morphs, right? But when you click out of it, it messes up. Yeah, so I can just freeze flatten, because I wasn't planning on editing this anyway, and now I just have the sound like this. Probably going to have this play just until there, and this will also be a pad, actually. Okay. Like some more atmospheres going into this bit. But first I'm going to get myself my drink because I'm getting thirsty. Just give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back. Okay. I know I should have prepared more, but this is... Okay, so... There we are. Now I can really get into things. It's always distracting if you're thirsty or hungry when you're producing, so take good care of yourselves. Maybe I'll go for like a quick saw thing here, maybe there, and then, okay, so this will be G, like a saw sweep up, right? Duplicate this. I'm getting a lot of Captain Hook vibes from this track, like also the way it was sent to me, because this is a collaboration between me and Nicola, who is in chat, or Boom Boom Bessa, if you know him from my Discord. We're working on this together, and the vibe that I got from this was Captain Hook. So that's kind of what I'm going for in terms of my sound design and everything. See this beat like... something like that, with a nice like that almost. Can give it some extra tone like this. Go up a bit and then down. Obviously, being Captain Hook style, we want a lot of ambience, so a lot of reverb as well. I like this one. Go like -16. Kind of want this delay to continue a little bit more so that this transition isn't as rough. Maybe you can go like this. this part I would go with more like bubbly synths like this.
You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision.
I'm not certain about the second one here, so let's turn that off for now. We can use percussions and stuff like that, kind of just at random. This one is very long, but you can. Take a percussion like this. Let's put it in key first. I guess one more. And maybe we reverse it here. Let's get rid of the click. Feedback loops in Ableton is a good way to experiment with plugins. Pillars of creation wallpaper. How did you see my wallpaper? Ah, did I hover over? Ah, if I hover over the to see the viewers and the stream, yeah, then my wallpaper shows. Yeah, it's the JWST wallpaper, or the I shouldn't say wallpaper. It's a picture they took. Obviously, they didn't shoot the telescope into space just to get wallpapers. Speaking about feedback loops, there's this plugin here. I need to find my serial for this. Give me 2 seconds here. Because this is obviously, I installed it again on the new PC. So one of these should have my serials. Just copy this over. What this allows me to do, this is a plugin that I again want to experiment with. I believe this is a delay, and what this allows me to do is have effects pre the feedback loop. Inside the feedback loop, you can see here it says like the feedback loop, and then after the feedback loop, right? So there's 3 places where you can insert up to 4 of these effects. So I believe we could like add a phaser, and can I tie this? Not now. Let's set it to like 8th dotted. 8th dotted. Okay, that's some cool stuff. I was hoping that every time it went through these things. But yeah, this should be a very cool. I guess it doesn't, it just applies it once and then feedbacks. No, it does go up every time, right? You can do like pitch up effects with this. Let's turn the phaser off. We could turn the picture down and then set the delay time to go up. That's very fast. Or very slow. Still 1.5 seconds. I might have this as a VST3. I'm just quickly going to turn this down and set this to like 300. What is the lowest that it can go? 0. Okay, then we set the feedback to 100-ish. Maybe more. Create some cool sounds, that's for sure. Want to compress this actually. That's pretty cool. Going to reset it and then just freeze it so that we can throw this on an audio track. It's a plugin that I haven't really done anything with. It was a very cheap plugin. I think it was like 29 euros or something. Oh, want to copy it and then paste. Let's see if we need to do some edits to this. I think we do, because it's a little bit loud on the first one. But it does give cool sounds. So there's that. Oh, that last bit is... Guess we couldn't do it like this. And then like -14. I also want to normalize this so I can mix it in properly. This is now at -13.
Known as the Dream Machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool.
This last part does sound very cool. I want to turn this up by a lot, and then I want to crossfade in a way that we get more volume out of this. Should be able to find a setting that works.
Do not fear, for this is a tool.
Obviously we're going to remove all of that low end rumble there.
Do not fear, for this is a tool. Do not.
I just want to get like the whatever high-end material is still in there, because I like this texture here. So this is gonna go up. You go like this, like that, and we kind of manually flatten it out a bit, right? So this can be a bit lower. What volume is that at?
Do not fear, for this is a tool.
I guess if we lower this bit by like 5 dB, and then it's almost like I'm doing manual compression, right? With the crossfades and everything. Now we get back 2 dB again.
A dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision.
We could take this thing,
Do not fear, for this is a tool.
take off another 2 dB. Maybe a bit more. And see how much we can gain back again. 1.4, nice. Okay, so now it's just like more flattened out.
A dream technology known as a dream machine.
I can do the same thing here. Like if I want all of these bubble sounds, I can just turn this up, say all the way. Okay. And I'm just taking it out like this, right? It's almost like compression, but a bit more controlled manually. Because we're just flattening it out.
Dream machine. Welcome. What you are about to
It is going to sound a bit unnatural, transitioning like this.
This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool. Welcome. What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool. Technology known as a dream machine.
I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this vocal here or like put it in the break or somewhere,
You will receive an occult.
and then just have this like be only these textures. I think that would be pretty cool. We can make a few more and then place one here and there as well to just mix it up a bit. So I did that with a percussion. Smash the like button? Yes. I don't know where that came from, but yes. Oh. I guess we can have this go, instead of it open, like going faster, this one goes slower. It's a bit too much, I would say. makes sense that we put this at -20. Then in this case. There's this ominous rumble in here. That's pretty cool. What key is that in though? Or does that even have a key? Doesn't make sense to talk about a key in this thing because I don't think it's going to be normal harmonics, right? Okay, so here it like goes down in volume. Okay, so that's tuned to B then. Or at least the lowest harmonic of those are. Could see if the octave higher is also a B, then it would make sense that it would be like an actual key. Either a B or a F sharp would make sense. Yeah, another B and then this is an F sharp, yes. Okay, so this is actually in key then. But I would like it to be in G, which is the key of the track. So I can just take the whole thing and pitch it down. Pitch shifter. B. This is A. This is G. And we have to obviously pitch it down after the echo here. Could do it like right here. Let's just freeze this quickly, just like the other two. And then we flatten to check the waveform. Perfect. That's what I want. Obviously I want it normalized. So 0. Like a little whoosh there. It's sounding pretty cool. Can do one more. And that's also going to go into this mini break here, I guess. does it really matter what? Oh, I can do one with the... You can do this with a sampler too. I accidentally made it a MIDI track, but actually we can just throw in a sample. And I believe the cool thing of a sample is that you can like control it a bit better. So we play this at a C because it's already tuned to a G. Then we hit loop, no snap, little bit of fade, so we don't get any clicks actually. And with the length we can control the speed. We can have this do it in such a way that the delay kind of takes over, hopefully. Making it more rhythmical. I'm not entirely sure about the whole thing. Obviously this needs to be like mixed properly then. Like have it nicely fade in and out of each other, all that kind of stuff. I think at this point we just want to go back to like more traditional synths in the track. Maybe not. Maybe we just do this whole track with atmospheres and weird synths like this. I don't know. Again, this is just an idea. The track is still very much in the early stages of development here. It's been almost 1.5 hours now. This is fun, all of this sound design, but I'm not getting a lot of stuff done, to be honest. So either I continue on this track and do kind of random stuff, or I'm gonna go over to the other track, which I think I'll do. The track that we've been working on stream before. I think I'm going for that, yeah. Number of concurrent viewers, 12. Oh wow. I think that might be close to a new record actually on YouTube. I've had that on Twitch back when I used to stream on Twitch. Do you remember the Twitch guy? The times I used to stream on Twitch? That was a long time ago. But I've never really had the same amount of viewership on YouTube, which is strange because I have a lot more subscribers there. I think because I used to push my streams like a lot more, I used to like hype them up and have the announcements in Discord. I don't do that anymore. And I don't really know why. Ooh, this is a bit slow. Ah yeah, need to reset the timing on these plugins quickly. It's annoying, but for some reason Ableton messes up the Melda suite now that it's in the latest version. This is one of the reasons why I hate updating stuff, because then this kind of stuff happens. Nope. What did I have here? Yeah, I was actually sent a... Let me quickly get the patch. Where did I download that? Maybe on my desktop? Strange, give me a second. Continue to download. Okay, so this goes in Xverse, Serum presets, user, bam. Okay, now I can open up the synth. I wanted to play with this synth, the synth that Nicola or Boom Boom Bessa sent me, which by the way I asked for, so that's why. See if that fits within this track. User Swagmaster Doritos. Just overall cool sounding synth. Maybe instead of this one. I think I like this synth a little bit more. What could be a cool idea is to add a little bit of melody to this. I think the other synth is going to work better if it has some melody, right? So we'll go for that. like this idea, but I'm going to turn it around. Actually, it's like this. Let's duplicate. Oh. Let's duplicate this over a few times. Delete this, and then halfway through and then we can build up on this melody with that synth as well. And then maybe just change up the synth altogether here. I don't know exactly what I was doing with the... Oh yeah, this is where we have the other synth come in. Maybe it's a cool idea to... Let's maybe not do the lowest note. Doesn't really sound nice in terms of the texture. Maybe just one note like this. I did remember doing something with, I believe, this sound here. Yeah, we have these like beeps to go into the break. We could maybe just see what happens if we add that to this. Okay, so this becomes kind of like a washed out synth. I don't think I want that going into the break. That doesn't seem to fit a lot to me. Let's actually create this for itself. Let's have this like slowly go down and back up again. I guess we can tie this to BPM. And then we'll use this. To get a little bit out like this. Okay. Maybe I do want it one octave higher still. I guess this then becomes our build-up area. That sounds a lot nicer actually, instead of just having this synth there. And this just becomes the build-up part of it.
Now let's begin.
Okay, I do remember having... Yes, okay, here we have a high pass. I'm going to put that here, and I'm thinking of just not doing the... or like giving this a fill here. I do remember how we said that we kind of didn't want to do that. But I'm backing off on that. Let's Control C, Control V here. We'll still have like a big fill there, but we'll add an extra one in here. taking a quick break soon as well. That sounds nice. I'm gonna do separation in here and then turn that into a build-up. What is this my like... Maybe place this here actually. Just as a test. Let's keep this like this and see how that goes into the melodic part. I think that works a lot better going into the melody with this just being single note. We'll probably process this. As you can see, there's a lot of difference between RMS and peak level. I don't have a good meter plugin, like an actual good loudness meter plugin that shows just everything. I have this. Because I often talk about like the levels that you see here, which for you guys is very hard to see, even for me, and I'm like on a big screen. Even if you guys go full screen and if you guys go full screen and 1080p, it's still hard to see because YouTube obviously like compresses the stream. Here, for example, this doesn't give me RMS, I believe. This is all LUFS. This is the peak volume. Not getting any RMS out of this. What I would like is a meter that gives me RMS, peak, true peak, crest would be nice, and LUFS. Is that everything? Peak, RMS, true peak, crest, and LUFS. I'd love to just have one meter that shows me everything, but I don't have that. I have the Julian loudness meter, I think it's called. Is it? Is Is that maybe VST3? No. No, this one. I have this thing. I don't think this shows RMS either. Right? I don't know what RMS integrated momentary max is. This does give me max readings for peak and true peak, but this is like for mastering, right? Do you think Albino 3 is good? Let me check. Albino 3. I've never heard of it, so Rob Papen. Have I seen this synth before? I've never seen this before. I know Rob Papen is famous for his synths, like he does a lot of synths. What else does he do? Yeah, you can see he designs a lot of synths, right? Even if you go in images, there's loads of different synths in here. But I've heard that some of these, like this green one, this raw one, is very, very bad. So I don't know. They all look very old. And I would say unusable. Like, this is like an old school interface, all of this. Also the one that you showed me, the Albino 3 one, that interface looks very, very old school. I wouldn't personally get this, if I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Not because maybe it's not a good synth. The FM in it was good. Okay. Well, if it works for you, then it works for you. That's okay. And I personally wouldn't use it. What was I doing again? I was doing something, right? I guess here there's a bit too much high end. Let's just tone this down a bit. Chrono X was nice too. Again, I've never heard of this plugin, so I wouldn't be able to talk to you about this. Okay, so we basically have all of our synths. If you don't remember, or if you haven't seen the streams before this on this particular project, the idea behind this project is we have several synths that are our main synths. So there's, in this case, this one here is this. We have the main one that is this. This is a main synth. This one is turned off, so let's disable that to show that. We have this, I think, which is like a nice ARP. We have this, where we technically have two things together. This one and this one. The idea is that I'm going to do, like for every section, a different synth, and then just build the one-shots around it. So that's why I have so many different one-shots everywhere. I'm like specifically designing each one-shot for the section that it goes into. So for example, this, like here we have this fill, right? This thing. That kind of swelch sound with all of the background synths and everything. That's just gonna go there. I'm not going to use that anywhere else. And then I'm going to do it like everywhere. 10 years ago you were 5. Okay. You might be skewing my demographic to the younger side a little bit then. I'm going to take a break for now, and I'm going to put on some music, as always. Just 10 minutes to refresh my ears and everything. Let's see, let's put on this track. Don't know if I've ever played this publicly. This is mastered even, wow. I will be right back, just take a quick break and I'll see you in a bit. I'll show the Zap as a sample. I think it's from a free pack. Once I come back I'll look into that for you.
You don't know what you want because you haven't thought about it. Then when somebody forces you to think about it and go through and say, there's the middle stage, then you get beyond that. beginning stage, you don't know what you want because you haven't thought about it. Then when somebody forces you to think about it and go through and say, there's the middle stage, then you get beyond that.
Okay, I'm back. Let me catch up on the synth or the chat. Omnisphere. Omnisphere is still around. I use Omnisphere. There might be There is Omnisphere in this project here. Somewhere. Omnisphere. Takes a little bit to open because it's massive. If it opens. Hello? There. Omnisphere. This is the version 2 with the extra browser. But it's still around, yeah, I use it a lot. Omnisphere is still around. Yes, your masterclass is on sale. How long is the sale going to last? I don't know. I don't run the sale. That's done by the website. The masterloops.net. What's the website called? The original masterclass was done in collaboration with them, so they control like sales and stuff like that. I can ask for a sale and they'll do it, but it's not like I control this sale now. They just, yeah, myloops.net. Those are the guys that do it. If you're going to, if you plan on buying my masterclass, wait a few months. I am working on a second one, on a masterclass 2.0. I'll quickly show the progress. This is interesting. If you plan on getting a masterclass from me, then I highly advise you wait for the second one. I have 15 chapters filmed. If I go into properties and details, so that it's 50 gigabytes, it's 16 hours worth of material right now. So this is going to be the masterclass 2.0. The good thing for me is that I'm going to release this myself, so I'll get all of the money. I would buy it, but I understand English too bad for it. Yeah, that might be a problem. It is in English, so that would be a problem. But I mean, it's not like it's not helpful, right? It still gives you a look into how I actually produce a track. I won't show the project here because obviously then that's not good. But here, this is the track. Can quickly skip through the track actually, give you an idea of what I'm working on. So this is the mix, the production mix. I'm still going to do the whole mixing thing, do it in Dutch, yeah, and then I'll exclude a whole bunch of people from the potential buy thing. So here we have like the intro.
I believe that if we are on
kick and bass. Kinds of synths here. This is still production mix, so what I still have to do is film the part where I do mix prep, the part where I do the whole mix again, so in Reaper, and then the mastering, and then I'm aiming for around 24 hours worth of like video material. So if you're interested in getting a masterclass, I would wait for that. In terms of like pricing, I'm thinking of doing like 60-70 bucks for video only, and then 120 bucks for video and projects. So there will be like two packages, right? You can go either the video only package, which would be cheaper, but you just have the videos. Do I know Eclip? Yes. He also does masterclasses and he does them very well. I have one of his. That's kind of where I got my inspiration from his, what's his called? Where do I have? Eclipse Psychedelic Tips Volume 2 is the masterclass I have from him. So that's just like the video stuff, right? And he also has like the projects and stuff like that, but these are just the videos from that. To to give you an idea, his masterclass is 8 hours. So mine is going to be like 3 times this in terms of like what I actually show in production. What he does very well is that he edited his masterclass a lot more, or this masterclass. He has a lot of them, so he also has like very lengthy ones if you're into that. The idea behind my masterclass is that I want to show you everything, right? Each single decision that I make either is like actually filmed, or I cut it up and then explain what I did, right? So if I do like 10 minutes of sound design without talking, because I'm like concentrated on the sound design itself, what I'll do in the masterclass is after that I did the sound design, I'll walk through like what I did in the patch to actually achieve it. What will be added in the new one that's not in the first one? Well, it's just like an update. Like all of my techniques have changed. The first one, it's 5 hours, so there's a lot more content, but the idea is the same. That I just show you how I produce a track. The problem with the first one is that I was a little bit like I wouldn't say stuck on time, but I needed to do it as fast as I could because of the contract that I had with myloops.net, with the website when I originally released it. This one, it's been 2 months or 3 months almost that I filmed. When did I film the first one? I can see. Okay, so the first one, I finished the edit of the first one on June 11th. So that's a long time ago now. That's more than like 3 months ago. So I'm spending a lot more time also just, making the whole thing. So in terms of what you're actually getting from that package, it's obviously all of my techniques have developed massively in the last 2 years. And my whole approach, the fact that I now do mixing separately, so that's interesting as well, that you get a whole segment that's specifically mixing. I don't think that I did that in the first one, just to save on time. I just kind of went with the production mix and then mastered it and then was like, okay. So it's a little bit more divided up. For example, here in the chapters you'll see, okay, we have the project setup. If you're interested in how I do my arrangements, you watch chapter 4. If you're interested in how I do, I don't know, my effects, my synths and sequences, how I do theming, you can look at a specific chapter for that. But if you get the first masterclass, it's just one 4.5 hour long, almost 5 hour long video that you just have to skip through, right? Is it Ableton focused? No. No, it's just like production like here, right? So what I'm doing here on stream, that's but more structured. Right, so I make like an actual kick drum, I make like my actual bass line, and stuff like that. But in the same way that I'm producing right now. It's just like a normal production of mine. But everything filmed and explained and everything. So it's not like, it's the same like here, right? What you see when I'm producing here is I use Ableton devices a lot, but it's not like you could not accomplish what I'm doing without the Ableton devices. I learned a lot from the first masterclass. Yeah, no, everything since then, because I've been making tutorials and producing for 2 more years. So everything I learned over those 2 years is basically put in there. And even now, like if I look at how I do how I did my bass lines then and how I'm doing my bass line now, I'll have a video on this very, very soon. This might be interesting. Let's run through this real quick. But essentially what I've done is I've developed a technique where you take your phasing and turn that into actual part of the process. So normally what you do when you make your bass line, right? Everybody knows this. You have your serum and say that you make like a bass patch. I do it like this. Right, this is my baseline. I set this to 16 envelope, and then we set a phase somewhere like there. This is your baseline. What people then tend to do is they'll add, I don't know, a multiband saturator, something like that. Multiband saturator. And with the filters that are in here, they'll go like maybe 3 bands. They set the phasing, right? This is what determines the actual phasing of your baseline. And what that means is, if you look in, I'm going to quickly go loop this, and I'll make a quick MIDI clip to just show you. If I open up SciScope, we can see that the waveform changes just by there being this saturator, even if it's not doing actual saturation. So if I turn off the dry wet for each of these, so no processing, we still get a different waveform because of the phase shift of the filters. What I would like, or what I developed, is a technique where you do all of your processing in linear phase. So even in linear phase, we still get normal phase, even though it's like shifted off here. So there's no difference in the like phasing here, right? And then you do all of your processing that you need to do either before or after this technique. But then you can use M Freeform Phase. This is a free plugin, and I created this preset here, which is my phasing preset. And this just does your phase shift then. So the phase shift becomes like a one-knob thing that you can introduce, and you can set few phasing, more. You can go really far, maybe a little bit. And the benefit of this is that it just depends on this one knob. And also that you don't get like messy phasing. All of this phasing is clean because it's just done once. If you have 4 rounds of processing or 5 rounds of processing, all of those phase shifts are going to be like slightly different between them. So the idea here is being, okay, you keep it as clean as possible. Whatever plugin that you use, make sure that it's in linear phase. And then you just do the phasing as if it was one of your processing parts, right? Just like the amount of saturation that you have on your baseline, so is the amount of phasing. And you can just express that in percentages. That's the whole idea. Video on this is coming soon, so stay subscribed for that, I guess. But even something like that is not something that I did in the masterclass 2 months ago when I made the baseline. That's something that I learned about a week and a half ago, this technique. So when it comes to doing masterclasses like this, it's kind of like a snapshot of where I am in my production. So if you like the music and the stuff that you're hearing right now, that's kind of the idea that we're going for in terms of like quality of the track, quality of all of the processing that I'm doing. And also, if you look at my tutorials, you can see it as the quality of explaining that I'm doing, right? Because between the last masterclass that I did and the one that I'm currently making, I've also become just like a better explainer. Is that the right word? A better YouTuber, I guess, would be a good word to describe it. I would say that I've become better at explaining what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. Oh, my chat is in German again. Nice. So there are big differences between the two masterclasses. There's a reason why I'm making a new one, and that's just to update it. Also, I'm no longer sharing the money then, which is a good thing. I just get all of the money minus the Gumroad fee then, because this is something I can sell through Gumroad. Let's do one shots. Let's do one shots here. Did you learn that bass phase trick by experimenting? Yes. Yes, the part of what I do as a YouTuber is coming up with new techniques, and there's a lot of behind the screen stuff going on. There's also a video coming up on that as well, where I just kind of show the process, in particular with regards to like ambience and plugs and stuff like that. But I just show kind of me doing some experimentation and drawing conclusions from that. But the idea when I come up with ideas like that is because I spend hours, usually in the evening when I'm a little bit more tired and I don't have to do like editing and stuff like that, or working on the mixes or the music videos for the album. Then I just sit down, experiment with things, even in productions. Like when I came up with this sound, I think there's also I have a lot of tutorials in the works right now. A lot of things in the works that are filmed, edited, and even already semi like posted. But a sound like this, which adds to the build-up, I don't know, is that live already? This is a patch based on shepherd's tones. So we hear it pitch up, even though it doesn't actually pitch. It's just a shepherd's tone modulator here. Again, there's a video coming on this. Or it might already be out. I think this might have been one of the ones that I posted recently. Or did I post the vocals one first? No, this one is coming. This is the next video that's coming is going to be on this. Then the video after that that's coming is going to be on my experimentation. And then the video after that, which I still have to finish the edit for, is going to be on that kick and bass trick, the phasing trick. I think there are some misunderstandings about kick and bass phasing. Yes, phase align your kick, not your bass. When you're aligning things, right? Because you want the click of your kick or the click of your bass to be right at the grid. Mine is a little bit offset, I see, but it's close enough, right? If you're going to align this to the waveform of your kick, for example, if you take this, right, you see this one is almost opposite, right? This is at the down and this is at the up. If you were to align this, you would line it up like this here. So this is up and this is up as well, so that it kind of cancels out. Then it's going to be off the grid. The idea behind aligning your kick and bass, what I think, is that you align your kick to the bass line. I mean, people tell stuff in tutorials that are half true. Yeah, it is not as important as people say, right? This isn't aligned, and I believe if I go into SciScope, you'll see that I'm not actually going the whole reason why we do kick and bass alignment is because we don't want to lose volume. We don't want to lose volume, right? Or we don't want to lose headroom, I should say. This is my kick. I should give stuff names. And then 39 audio is my bass. I also wanted to explain those zaps here. If I go in here, I need to go to sorry, let me align this. The whole idea is that if we sum these together, we don't want this area to be louder than the transient of the click, because then you're losing headroom in your mix. But in this case, you can see we're not losing headroom because this isn't louder than my transient. Also, what you want to look for is if this area doesn't look too messed up, if you can still see kind of the sub bass. But generally speaking, what I tend to do is I tend to, in this case not even. In this case it still has a sub, but you can remove the sub from this patch by remaking your patch. I still have the patch, so I could still do that. You can go into whatever synth that you're using and then use like a different waveform and then just whoop, remove the sub, and then obviously like set up your modulations, whatever you have to do. This would be then LFO2 and this would be your velocity. And you just resample this as a baseline and use that whenever your bass lines up with the kick, right? So to give you an example of that, we'll quickly record this. You take this, if I now record the one with the sub in there, you'll see that we lose a lot of the volume. And that's really why we're doing it, right? You can see that this has a lot less volume than this. So that's already profit. It went from, look, that's not... Look, it's not fully out of phase to it has to be perfect. Yeah, no, it doesn't. In essence, all that we're trying to do is just not get a massive increase in volume where your kick and your bass overlap. Right? If I were to just... That's also the reason why we do like sidechaining, or in my case I do it with the volume thing. But if I just take this bass and put it on here, this is going to be messed up. Like this would be a case in which you can see it's messed up, right? This is something you want to avoid when your waveform starts looking like this mess. What I think is a lot more important No, it's not to cancel the sub. Yeah, but it's not going to cancel the sub. If this is at a low enough volume and you can see your sub bass in here, then your sub bass is not going to cancel. Aligned phase adds up more volume. Yes, but that's not what you want, because that's going to trigger your master limiter. You wouldn't want that. What you would want is a nice sub bass going in here. Like I said, if I align this and then boost the volume massively, you're going to get a spike in your sub bass. This is going to go up here in level. And that's not what we want, because that's going to sound horrible. You get an extra wobble, which doesn't translate well onto bigger speakers, especially in clubs. In clubs, that's just going to make your bass line or your track sound drowned out with bass. That's also the reason why I showed you this trick, by the way, the removing the sub altogether. That way you won't have that problem. Like, you're not going to cancel the sub if your bassline does not have a sub, right? At that point, the alignment really becomes about just looking at the waveform. And if the waveform still, because obviously the higher harmonics do have an effect on the waveform. Maybe just both mix up and it doesn't sound so clean. That's the point. Yeah. The point is, in a clean kick and bass, if you look at the waveform of a clean kick and bass like this, you can see the kick and you can see the bass, and you can still hear this transient that you can see here. There's something to say for having this transient sit close to a zero crossing point. By the way, Wayo does not look at the phase at all. Yeah, again, it's not that important as long as you don't get extreme cases like I showed you before. Like if you know what you're doing with sidechaining, then you don't have to align your kick and bass. If you know what you do with kick design, this is a horrible kick because if we zoom out a bit, you can see that the sub bass is actually going up in level here. Ideally, we would have it go down. I think I messed something up with the processing on this one. This is actually one of my kicks, so maybe not a good idea to call it horrible, but still. Yeah, I've done maybe some processing. I would like have this trail off maybe a bit more. Something, all those things, if you do all of those things, then phasing does not matter. It won't actually get you a better kick and bass. It might mess it up, because if you start doing phase alignment on your bass line, and you actually shift your whole bass line like people do, like what they'll do is they'll go into their patch, and then they'll play with this phase to align it, which is a stupid idea, because if you place this right here, you're not going to have a transient on your bass line, which is going to sound horrible, right? Need to set this back. Oh yeah, the other thing, this sweep. I think Alex asked about the sweeps, right? Can you show me how you did that sap and that fill? This one. I think this is a combination of a whole bunch of different samples. I can give you the sample library. I'll play these individually because it is. You have this sound here. This is all background stuff. And then this thing here as well. Which for some reason there's automation points. I don't want that. This is all some background stuff. The main zaps are these. These are all samples from Psychedelic Intelligence 2, I believe. In Synth Hits. Some of these, this is 14. Are they all 14? 14, 14. Yes, it's this sound here. And then obviously I pitched it down and up and everything. Right, so it's a lot of pitching and then just arranging everything. Without a delay, you can hear it sounds. Sometimes you get more transients because it clicks. The only reason why you would get more transients is if your bassline does not start here yet. The most click you're going to get is if you set your phase right before this area, which is where I have set it. Basically right here, you're going to get the strongest click, which is something I like because I like to take the click out with like an equalizer. Here, I did it a little bit in the high end. Maybe this is doing something here. This is maybe doing just processing. This is giving a little bit more mid-range. So I guess this is technically taking out the click. But the absolute worst thing to do is to align your kick and bass with this phase knob here in the synthesis process. If you want to align kick and bass, then align your kick. And the way you align your kick is with a high pass filter first. Right? I can show you an example of that here. Take my kick, throw it on here. What you'll do is throw on a high pass filter at its lowest point. If I set this to the kick, 24, you can hear what that, you can see what this does Go to size scope. Even if I turn it on and off, you can see it's like phase aligning or changing the phase, right? Because that's what filters do. You can use this as your phase alignment. And for this one, I would like go up until here. So the transient of your baseline that's going to sit here nicely falls in a trough. Then you want to remove all of this mess here. So you just freeze and flatten or resample or whatever. Phase talk is very confusing. Yeah, it's very difficult because everything about phase is not intuitive because you cannot actually hear phase, right? Like an EQ change, like a boost or a cut, you can hear that. But phase alignment itself, you're not going to hear phase shift. Size scope, yes, plugin that I use for looking at kick and bass, having a visual representation. This is size scope. It's a free plugin. There's also pro version. If you consider getting size scope and you have the money for it, it's like 10, 20 bucks, maybe 15. Then get the pro version because you don't have to do all of this routing. You can just throw one on the kick and one on your bass lines, and it will do the routing internally. Whereas the free version, you have 3 inputs like I'm using here. This actually should go to 7/8, right? So this goes to sidechain input 1, this goes to sidechain input 2, and this goes to 3. And then I can look either at the sum or all the layers or one of the layers at the time. I think it has 4 inputs. It has its normal inputs, then sidechain input 1, 2, and 3. It's not that you're going to need 4 ones. Yeah, so this is the free version. If you have the money to spare, get the pro version. There are some benefits. I also think it might automatically align. What I'm doing here with this alignment thing, where you shift or the sub like this, and you have a phase aligned kick right now, right? We can look at this, say, okay, where is it? And you can see now this lines up, whereas the other one doesn't, right? Not that it matters too much. This one is also pretty nice. There might be some processing on here that's messing things up a bit, but it's not that it's on here, right? No. Strange. Doesn't matter. But that's how you align kicks to bass lines. It was 20 bucks, good price, and then he went up to 50. Did he? Okay. He also he offered me a trial version of the Pro, like a reviewer version of the Pro version of Scilab, which is his kick and bass synthesis program. And it's just so complex that I have no idea how to use it. I promised him, like, I will make a video on this once I understand it, back when I was starting out, when I had like 200 subscribers. And I never spent the time to actually learn it. Not Syscope. Oh. Yeah, I'm ignoring all of the German stuff. So sometimes a message when I see you talking about Megascope, I kind of block that. Because obviously I don't know how to speak German, so I kind of have to ignore that. Was there something else that I needed to chat about? I don't think so. I do like that you guys are all chatting with me now. That's very nice. Kartoffeln, ja. Papierbewijs. Something my dad used to say, which is... It's actually not a nice thing. If you know a little bit about history, but that's okay. It's one of the only German words that I know. I'm telling him it's better to see Megascope in action at least. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, maybe for beginners the routing is a little bit strange, but it's not like you cannot learn face alignment here. You have all of the tools, and I think with the Megascope you cannot like zoom in like this, right? Like, can you make it this big? Isn't that the one? Isn't that the yellow one where it's not actually aligned? Or am I thinking of a different oscilloscope then? That yellow orange one. Right? The Megascope. Oscillos Megascope. I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah, this is basically the same as SciScope. Apart from the fact that you can see it like this. Maybe SciScope Pro allows you to see it like that as well. I don't know. Yeah, SciScope Pro, if you get the Pro version, it's like this. Same thing, right? You can see it one above the other. You can see it like this. Megascope is the best one, but it's also the most expensive. What does Megascope do that SciScope Pro doesn't do then? Because if that's the case, then I would like to partake in that. Just going to try some sound design here. More settings. Okay, but what can it actually do? Like, UV Vulkan has a lot more settings than Serum, but I'm better at sound design in Serum than I am at Vulkan, probably. Same with Omnisphere. You can do more sound design stuff in Omnisphere, but that doesn't make it better. Right, one of the things that I like about SciScope is that it's... I have this track saved, so I have a few clicks in here. I open up the plugin and set this LED value, and then I'm good. Right? That's one of the qualities of a plugin, is that it's, for example, fast to use. Maybe oscilloscope or the Megascope is better, but it takes a long time to set up. I don't know, I've never used it, so this is just speculation. But if that's the case, then I wouldn't consider that better. Another example of that is OTT. A lot of people use OTT because you just open it up and you have the strong kind of compression that you want. It's already preset in there. That's the reason why one-up saturators are so popular. Another example, right? Not to say that that what you're saying is not true. I'm just kind of looking for if there's actually things that I can do with the Megascope that you couldn't do with SciScope. I would say SciScope Pro is enough to look at the face. I mean, I've been using the free one forever, so that's good enough for me. Like, if one of the settings would be that you could change the colors, that's not really a benefit, right? I'm starting to sound like the guy from White Sea Studios, Witzke. Witzke? What's his name? You don't have to pay 2.5 times more for a few more settings, yeah. Wait. I am eventually going to... Is this the one that I want? No. I want the distortion from the waves one. The overdrive, I guess. I bought it when it was $20 at release. That's also a factor. Like now, I think Cyscope Pro is still $20. If I'm not mistaken. Also, Cyscope Pro shows you spectrum. Did you know? Buy full version. It is Windows only. That would be an actual reason to get the other one. Buy this. 30 bucks with included tax. But for that you do get spectrum analysis as well on your kick and bass. I didn't know that. That's actually interesting. Right, if you look here at the website, there's spectral analysis as well. This is actually useful. Like I can imagine that you use this to show your kick, your bass. Here he has synths and whatever. And then you can not only... This is actually... I think I'm going to buy this after the stream. This is actually pretty big. Because what you can do is you can not only look at the... like your kick and bass alignment and phase alignment, which in this example is horrible, by the way. But you can use this for looking at the separation of frequencies in your mix as well. Span does this. Yeah, I know. But having all of that in one plugin, if you're going to look at the kick and bass like frequency balance and your kick and bass phase alignment, you might as well do that in one plugin. That's phasing, tuning, sum, peaks, etc. And now also multi-track frequency analyzer. Like okay, the reason why we're talking about which plugin to get was for Alex, right? If Alex is going to go into phase alignment and everything, he might as well have a plugin that also gives him the information on spectral stuff. I bought the because I couldn't find the free one for Mac. Yes, Cyscope Pro is Windows only. Which is strange because it runs on the Juice framework. So he could just build a Mac version, I think. I think in Juice you can just build Mac versions even if you're not on Mac. Don't know who has actually worked with the Juice framework. Juice is a framework that allows you to code VST plugins. It's in C#, so you need like Visual Studio and all that mess. But it's really good because it just allows you to build VST, VST3, RAST, which is the Pro Tools one, AU, standalone, and I think they might also be working on that new thing that's coming. What's that new plugin format called? The one that's like actually good. Clap. Yeah, there's already extensions for Clap. Surge has made it into Clap. It's the new plugin standard by Yui, for those who don't know. Yeah. Okay, so right now it's too loud, so first one to counterintuitively make it a bit louder to get to 0. Put on the saturator right there. recently installed a plugin that had a clap version. It's not going to be supported by Ableton for another 5 years, so I wouldn't worry about it. Ableton is notorious for spending a lot of time implementing basic features. Like VST 3 wasn't available until version 10, I think. Right, or maybe even the 10.5 thing that they did. And I remember there also being something about 32-bit plugins. You can finally do like native 32-bit plugin bridging, I think. Like in 11 that was introduced. FL Studio had that shit when it was in version 9, which is 10 years ago now. So when it comes to things like that, innovations on plugin formats, Ableton really is behind the curve. What made that saturator, many people say, is God for bass. Why? Ableton has a plugin warper. I think they introduced... Didn't they introduce 32-bit? Or were they going to? I believe they did. I don't know, I don't have any 32-bit plugins. But I believe they did. I've always been interested in this because I know for a fact that the only option that we had, which was JBridge, which I actually paid for when it first came out and when I still had a lot of 32-bit plugins, didn't work. Like, it was buggy as hell and it would crash all the time and stuff like that. The saturator, many people say, is good for basses. Any saturator will work. What you want from your saturator is not so much the saturation itself, it's the phasing. And like, the filters are going to be the same filters every time. They're going to be infinite impulse response IRR filters, and they're going to be 24 dB per octave. It's when you're doing like bass processing, it's not so much that you focus on the processing. A lot of people get this wrong. It's not that you're focusing on the processing, it's focusing on the phasing, right? Making your bass line look like this wobbly stuff. After you've done that, you could do just a single wideband saturator on this. Is this misaligned? It is. Huh. My bassline is not on the grid. Might be a good idea that I actually fix this right now. And while we're at it, I'll also record the one for the on beat. What's the difference between VST2 and VST3? Native scaling. So in VST3, what you get is, I believe, let me get a, I believe all VST3 plugins, maybe not, but there are more options for developers. One of the coolest thing as an actual producer is that your automations are tied exactly. So if you go to VST2 plugins, to an amp, for example, here, and I swing this button around, this is in dB. But if I go in here and configure, no, if I go in here, you can see all of these parameters are just in, it still says dB here, but where's this track? Where am I? Oh, I'm on my bassline, of course. Here. If I go to this treble, you can see this is still from 0 to 1, even though this is a measurement in dB. If you do that with a VST3 in dB, this is actually going to be your dB level. So you see this is indicated in dB. So for VST3, that's the main benefit as a user. When it comes to developers, it's completely different, because it allows you to do like resizing much easier. People actually saturate basslines in single band saturators. Yes, the reason why you saturate basslines in single band saturators is once you have your phasing, only after you do your phasing. Once you have your phasing, you can use the saturator to push out this part, right? Because all of the sub-bass is sitting right here. This isn't going to be pushed much more. But you can just give it a few dB to have this part come up a little bit more, and also get maybe a little bit more second harmonic, maybe a little bit more third harmonic, stuff like that. I got way more blurry. Oh, on my end it still seems good. Yeah, I can still get 1080p, no problem. Strange. You can just change the phase and the harmonics in the synth. Yeah, you can do that, but you won't get to a result like this. Like the phasing right here is very naturally changing, right? Because of the way filters interact with phase, in that they shift the phase, that the frequency that is exactly on the cutoff, they shift at 180 degrees, and both ways away it kind of fades back to 0 degrees. One way, like above it shifts it negatively, and the other way it shifts it positively. Like if I go into Serum here, you can see the phase, how this is shifted. For some reason it doesn't show up nicely. What's happening here? Why is it giving me 3? You can see how it shifts up and then down. This, by the way, should be Moog 18, I think I had it. I don't know why it looks like this. It shouldn't look like this. It just should look like this, where it goes up and then down and then back up again. If you want to do this by manually editing the harmonics, you're going to be editing a lot of harmonics. The confusion is that there's actually two types of actual phase shift, right? You have your phase alignment, in which case you shift the phase of the sound, which is done with, for example, your phase knob, or if you do it correctly, there's a whole bunch of different techniques to shift the phase, like completely, all of them, or just the sub. And then there's the phase shift that we introduce to get the waveform that we want for a bass line, which is done so that the transient is free from the sub bass. You can see that the sub bass, the massive sine wave that is the sub bass, is sitting here, but not at the start. This is flat, so you can see that there's no sub bass here. That's because the sub bass has been shifted back, giving you more room for the transient when you start to process it. And that's where also that saturation come in. You can saturate, after this you can saturate your bassline to up your transient in a nice sounding way, because you add harmonics with your saturation obviously, and you increase the volume, because this isn't at 0 where this part is, right? So the relative volume shift is going to be less, or the relative volume difference is going to be less. This is all very technical. I hope I make sense when I explain stuff like this. Okay, baseline. Let's throw this thing right here. Let's, seeing as we're replacing our bass, let's properly cut it as well. One. Yeah, you can see the phase shift here as well, right? My MIDI was this long, but there's still a cycle and a half of sub bass remaining. Okay. Now we align this one as well. Why is this so much further back? It's strange. Okay, let's set these to 0. I have this at minus 10 usually. Seem to have a pretty strong groove in here. Minus 8 and minus 2. Let's see. Minus 8 and minus 2. I think that sounds nice. Okay. Now I'm going to place this here. Quick trick if you need to replace your baseline or do whatever and you have automations or stuff like that. Wait, what? Ah. Take all of your automations, throw that on the group temporarily. Now I can redo the arrangement. I'm going to check if everything is now properly aligned. The reason why I'm doing this is, here you can see, there's a gap there, which you don't want. So this should give us just a bit of a cleaner kick and bass. Not that it's going to matter much. Right, is that all properly? I think so, yeah. Let's have a listen and a look while we're at it. Kick, bass, size scope. Okay, some I'll probably redo the bass as well, or the kick as well. Seems like this could be aligned a little bit better. This one at minus 8, let's set it to minus 10, gives it a little bit cleaner. Linear phase. Linear phase is another mess. Linear phase doesn't introduce any phase shifting, it introduces latency. The reason why I, for example, use linear phase mode in my filters is because I don't actually want to phase shift with this filter, I just want to. If it sounds good, it is good. You won't know the exact sound of your kick and bass until it hits the final limiter. And your final limiter, if you don't have this bit properly volumed, is going to introduce distortion on this bit, which you don't want. So that's why I'm looking at the distortion now. This is all, yeah, that's all the new baseline. Okay. Reason why I use linear phase for like my filters for transitions and stuff is because I don't want those filters to actually shift the phase of my bassline. Right now I have my resampled bass here and I wouldn't want to do any more phase shift on it. Like I can do some EQing on the mid-range and the high-end, but I won't actually go for like low or high cut filters or high pass filters that are not linear phase. Same on my mastering. Now, all of these things that we've talked about with phasing, it's only important if... That's the final thing I'll say about this. And then I'll shut up about it, because it's getting long and technical and boring, maybe. It's not going to save your track. If you're going to spend an hour making a bass line and getting all of your phasing and stuff like that right, it's much better to just spend that time working on your actual productions. That's why I'm doing this as quick as I can and dirty. Because this is just a detail. Right? It's not actually going to make or break your productions. A missing theme or a bad mix overall, like a bad volume mix with elements being way too loud or way too quiet, or just not an interesting production, is much bigger problem than the phasing of your bass line and your kick and bass relationship and stuff like that. Where do I mix and master my stuff? I mix in Reaper. I export each individual track that has any audio material on them that I want to use in my final mix. So, for example, these groups, I'll go in and export each individual track like this as an audio file, as a WAV file, and then I open them up in Reaper. Reaper is right here. While Reaper is open, I cannot actually see the chat, but this is a mixing session, as you can see. I have a few tracks in here which I decided not to use, but this is a mix for one of the album tracks. And I basically remake the track structure, all of the groups and everything. You can see it's the same template, right? Same colors and everything. But this is where I do my mixing, and then mastering, I just go back into Ableton and do my mastering there. Because that's just on a single waveform. Oh, you mean speaker? Yeah, speaker, 100%. Never headphones. I only wear headphones when I'm producing live, so that it doesn't bleed into the microphone. Whenever I'm using my microphone, why am I doing it in that way? It's partially because from the old PC, when I started to add my mixing plugins to my tracks, my CPU limit got hit. So I wanted to stop that from happening. And since I started doing it for that reason, what I found is that it puts you in a different mindset. Like, you're no longer a producer at that point. At that point, you're a mixing engineer. Looks like a strong tea. This is iced tea. So yes. I do not have the best speakers, so how do you think I should do that? Neither have I. I have 10-year-old Logitech speakers sitting here, but I know how they sound, how they're supposed to sound when I listen to professionally mixed music. And obviously I'm not going to get the details right. I'm not going for a world-class master here. I'm just going for a master that is acceptable when people are high on LSD on the dance floor. Which is what Psytrance, which is like the bar that you need to clear for Psytrance, right? And neither should you. You're not going to get a professional level mix from either headphones nor speakers or whatever setup you have if you don't have proper acoustics or proper training or experience. Like, learning how to mix is going to take you a few years. So don't worry about getting perfect mixes. Get as close as you can to how professional tracks sound on your system. You can use analyzers. What I like to do is actually use like analyzers like the Psyscope to look at my kick and bass, obviously. But I also use the Spectrum analyzer, right? Something like this. And I just look at professional tracks. How much mid-range, how much high-end, how much low-end, which individual harmonics in the low end. I look at the individual volumes of the lowest 4 or 5 harmonics. So I'm in the same boat. I don't have a professional studio, so I'm not going for a professional mix. feel like I left a conversation somewhere in the middle. I don't remember. Oh yeah, what I want to say, so how you should go about it is just learn the equipment that you have. Not worry about the equipment that you're going to have. Yeah, no, that's okay. Wait. Now this is more of a mess than it was before, actually. I guess I can turn this down a bit more. Here's a little experiment. What if I set U to -12, keep the transient at the same level, and then just crossfade here. Still have the same amount of transient, it's less rumbly. I like that. There's another takeaway. If you have rumbling kick and bass, cut here, lower your body, and you will still have the click from your transient in there, just not the rumble. Because you don't need that, right? This bit of this bass line isn't really accomplishing anything. It's a transient that we want. I mean, am I mixing enough if I make a synth and serum, some delay and reverb, how I like it, and the compressor, serum or OTT, some EQ, what I need more? I cannot answer that because it depends on the sound, right? What mixing is just balancing of sounds. It's not some magical thing. You're just trying to take all of the sounds that are in your track and make them work together. So I cannot like answer that specifically, like, okay, you need to do this, you need to throw on this plugin and that plugin. That's not going to help. What you need to learn is how do professional tracks sound on my system, and how do my tracks sound on the system, and what is the difference. And that's something that takes time. Like, I'm still learning, and I've been producing for 10 years now. It's actually been 10 years, yeah. Almost. The end of the year, it's 10 years of me producing my first track. Started production in like January. So at the end of the day, you just need to learn your tools and need to learn your system and your setup. And there's not one chain, not one. Then how did I miss Albino? Because I only used the FL Studio synths for the first 4 or 5 years. FL Studio synths and TR G-Force Alpha, which was a trance, like normal trance synth for normal trance stuff. Am I here already? Did I do all of this? I guess I did, didn't I? Hello, Mindbee. Three to 4 months, I think it's too early for a masterpiece mix. Yes. Normal trance is just super sauce. Yes. But that's what I used to make back then. Like, I didn't make psytrance. I didn't start making psytrance until three and a half years ago. The only reason why I'm sitting here having a YouTube channel making psytrance is because of Arjen van Buuren and Vini Vici, the Great Spirit. I heard that track and I was like, neat, I can do that. And then I did. And that's how I got into... Trance are all the same, you take that back right now. It's not all the same. Although I like this sound, it's not the sound that I wanted here. I wanted something more washed out. Oh, of course we have the overdrive here, so that's going to be a bit of a mess then. I guess we do the... I guess I can do a chorus. It's all sine waves, yes. That's maybe a bit too... Let's go single band. Let's see if they have some washed out thing. I guess I can... wash it out a bit more like that. Can add one of these to it. That's kind of what I'm after. It's a little bit less clicky then. That's nice. I'm going to... Yeah, let's go 50% wet. I like from the meld-up parameters, they give you a lot more information. So the dry, wet being two different values basically doubles your range, right? Meld-up plugins are so immensely complex. If anybody is actually into audio engineering, they'll like this. I think M-Analyzer might be free, but you can go into your analyzer and then in advance you can set the actual window that uses the window type, right? So rectangular, Hamming, Blackman. You can do a cosine window if you want. And you can set your window size and your FFT size, which is much more detailed than it needs to be. Like, nobody needs this amount of detailing in an analyzer. Also, of course, you can do normal things like pre-filtering. You can set all of your colors if you want to. Enable all kinds of different graphs if you want. The slope, which is... I have the Synthful Melder, but I never used it because it's too mysterious and complex. Yes, I know it's what was the other example? M-Turboverb. M-Turboverb, we might actually use that. This is a nice idea. M-Turboverb, very nice reverb. You can just click a preset and then select a version of that preset and you're done. Or you can go in here and edit the individual reflections. Or the formula used for, this is called long reflections, but your diffusion, practically, right? Here you have your main settings, which is all good and well, but you can look at the actual algorithm that is used and set up parameters and everything. You can do that with 6 of them, and you can do that with 3 early refractions if you want to. You have a dynamics processor on top of that. You have an EQ on top of that. You have another EQ if you want to do mid-side EQing, which in reverb you often want. So it's way more complex than it needs to be. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Alex, by the way, is in my Discord as well. Right? Real Alex, just to confirm, you're in my Discord as well, right? You might be able to I saw you guys talking about the Discord call, so that's why I asked. You guys should be able to just exchange Discord usernames, and that should be a lot easier maybe. I want dimension expander on this, which I don't have. I have that here. You guys seen the new skin for dimension expander? Looks amazing. I say it's new, it's probably not new, and just didn't update the old one. I missed the chicken. Where's the chicken? Yeah, it's... This is a new skin. I mean, the old one was... Like, this one is scalable, which is nice. Right, the old one was... a quarter of this, basically. So I do like the fact that you can now... like, actually see the interface. New OTT also looks good. Yeah. Looks a little bit cleaner. I mean, here there wasn't, for OTT it wasn't that necessary. They still don't allow you to edit the low and high band individually like you can in the actual preset. For those that don't know, the OTT preset came first. This is based off of this, and this is an Ableton preset for multiband dynamics. This one, which I have set as my default because I don't use it for anything else. Any other multiband compression that I need to do, I'll do that in the M Dynamics MB. Hello Greedo, nice to see you here as well. We had everyone today. Everybody came by. It's nice. Okay. Still a bit too loud, I would say. I need those likes, thank you. Well, more the fact that you say that I deserve them, but I read the whole message and then I only said the first part out loud. Thank you. I'm actually on 21 likes. That's a lot. That means that 21 different people came into the stream today. I cannot actually see how many different viewers I've had over like the course of the whole stream until it's finished. But usually it's less than 20. Like for the whole stream. And seeing that it's 21 likes shows me that it's already more, right? So that's nice. Also, I didn't announce anything. I didn't say like, oh, I'm going live in a few hours. I used to do that. I used to put up the little YouTube thing. 24. 24? Oh, wow. Yeah, it takes the time for me to update, but... Also, if I go to my streaming, this is going to be Inception, because you'll see this window here then. This concurrent viewers and this one almost never lines up. Like this was at 9 before, and then there's this one. I think this is because it like is the graph and it just updates less than this one. But now it's on 8 and 7. Guess I can. Okay, we'll do. That's kind of what I'm going for. A bit more saw wave-ish. That's maybe a bit much. Let's give this a bit of a bump like that. Veel Duitsers in het huis vandaag. Jazeker. We worden weer eens overgenomen door de Duitsers. Het houdt maar niet op met die lui. If you guys are going to speak German, we are going to speak Dutch, okay? Those are the rules. Okay, let's see. Bit more. Guess I could filter it again here. Just like take its top off. By the way, you can do individual. I'm gonna go with a low 12. I thought I was Italian. I am not Italian. I live in Italy. I live near Milan. I do study at the University of Milan, but my seat is in Cremona, which is an hour away from Milan. So I moved here almost 10 years ago. A little over 9 years ago, I should say. In July, it was 9 years. And yeah, so I've been going to school here and studying here ever since. But I am Dutch. And I study at the University of Milan in Cremona. And the reason why we're in Cremona is because in Cremona there's an acoustics lab. Can I speak Italian? Yes. Yeah, I went to school here, so I had to learn it. Oh. Might be cool instead of doing like normal sidechain to, again, we can use LFO2 for this. There's a certain freedom that comes with having the PC that I have now, where I used to be scared of getting into CPU limits. That's not going to happen anymore, I feel. Sure, if I open up 10 Omnispheres, I might get into trouble. But I just don't feel it. I can see this going up as well, but it's not actually like causing trouble. At 40%, my old PC used to make all kinds of clicks and weird things. This one doesn't. Might be cool to open the release a little bit, just to give a little bit of its pluck back. I think we're taking off a little bit too much here. You got the click there still. Yeah, normally in this case I would just like do some volume automation on it, something very CPU light. In this case I'm just going to LFO to it. And that's going to get rid of just this click that's happening here. Can I share my PC specs? I have a list here of the new PC. If it's still in my history. It's no longer in my history. But the CPU is a AMD Ryzen 5800X. The graphics card is a RX 6600, RX 6600. Mine is the Mac version by MSI, so it's like a little bit buffed. 8 gigabytes of video memory, 32 gigabytes DDR4 extra fast, I think 3200 megahertz or maybe 3600 megahertz. I can open up here 3600 megahertz and I can upgrade to 64 gigabytes, which I might do because it helps with that would mean that I could take use of all of my cores or all of my threads. I have 16 threads and now it uses 8 for rendering because it needs 4 gigabytes per thread to render. When I say rendering, I mean for After Effects. So CPU is the AMD Ryzen, this thing, memory, and then I have my main C disk, which is a 1 terabyte. That's one of the bigger upgrades as well. Is a 1 terabyte, one of those mounted on the motherboard, super fast SSDs. I have more SSDs and more disk. I have a lot of disks, as you can see. And here, GPU, AMD Radeon RX 660. 6600. How would you say that normally? 6600. 6600. And I have a disk drive by Samsung. A Samsung, that's very important. Samsung disk drive. For whenever I need to burn CDs. bit too mid-range, you know. Should be able to just go like this. And then also the filter cutoff, make that go the other way. How many tracks are we on, by the way, for this project? 111. And I haven't even done the one-shots for most of the track. Like all of this needs stuff. There's nothing in the intro. This needs more one-shots at some point as well. I need atmospheres everywhere. I have no effects. I'm missing vocals. So this is going to be a complex track. How long have I been streaming? I do have other things to do today, actually. So I think can do a little bit more, but at some point I'm going to finish up for today. I have music videos to make. Did you guys see the preview on Discord that I posted just before I went live? I posted a preview of the music video, or music videos for the album. It's like a single screen. Looks amazing. What I do, actually for the end of the stream, I want to explain this because this is actually interesting what I've been doing with the music videos. My problem is After Effects works in video times, so frames per second, right? So every second is a division of 30, or in my case I do 60 because I like 60 FPS. I like the smoothness of it, and I want everything to be smooth. Ableton is not in, or music is not in FPS. It's in beats, bars, and that kind of stuff. So if you want an animation that lines up with the beat, you need to make some kind of conversion at that point. So what I did is, I'll save this. I made a project for each of the songs, like this, which is music video converts. And if you just go into the first one, you'll see that it's, I'll promise this is actually interesting. I'm gonna do once the music videos are out, I'm going to do like a big video of the whole process so that you guys learn how you would actually be able to do this yourself if you want to make good looking music videos. I made 5 tracks which each just have a delay on them with a dry wet. I needed something that went from 0 to 100, so I went for a delay with a dry wet, and this allowed me to draw out what I wanted the animations to do. This will make sense in a bit why we have just 5 tracks here. So I throw in the track, right? I throw in the track, I write out the animations, and then I need to get that into After Effects. So I wrote a program, Visual Studio. I'm going to throw this onto GitHub at some point. I wrote a program that, if I run this, I can open up a project, projects. I'll open up that same project. I can hit process, and you can see we have these same tracks here coming out. I input the BPM, this case it's 135. 135, I input the FPS, which is 60, and I can set a min and a max, and I can normalize. Min max is the output values that it gives to my After Effects stuff, And then I can normalize to make sure that all of these automations are like normalized going from the lowest point to the highest point if I don't do that. The idea being that if you want to use this on an actual project that you're producing with, if you're not making the project specifically for this, you can take any automation and basically pump it up from minimum to maximum. It will always go from this minimum to this maximum here. I can then select all of the tracks that I want. In this case, I want to convert all of them, and I hit convert, and out comes the After Effects data that I can then plop into After Effects, right? This actually works in After Effects and it gives me all of the data. It converts this data into After Effects keyframes, which is then in video timing. So in After Effects, let me open up After Effects here, the album stuff, music video, again, the video for The Awakening. We open up After Effects. Give it a bit of time. In here we have those same controls. So we have intensity, build, kick amount, variation, and variation. Those are the ones that I copy it into. And you can see, if you were to make this all of this manually, you would first need to obviously align everything, and then you would also need to set all of the values. Now I don't have to do that. Those 5 tracks that you see here, those are all generated. Then for all of the different parts here, all of the different things that make up this music video, what you essentially have to do is you have to set everything that you want to animate as a function of one of these sliders, right? So for example here on this ball we changed the position. In this case it says center, but it should be the position, I think, depending on the BPM. What this does is it makes a calculation of BPM, which is one of the things that you can set in here. And then with kick amount, if the kick amount goes up, I believe, no, not even. Oh, that's the radial blur. Sorry, the position here. This does some wiggling depending on the BPM. So it wiggles more when the kick hits. There's some intensity. So the more intense the music is, the more this thing like wiggles. And if there's a build up, it wiggles even more, right? And all of those controls kind of create the whole animation. I cannot actually show it because like it takes a long time to actually render. Like I press play now and it's just calculating individual frames, right? And that's at 1/3 of the resolution. So even still, this is something that takes a long time to render. I'll show you when it's done in a second what it actually looks like. But you can see everything is like moving and doing crazy stuff. And then with that kick amount, basically when the kick comes in, so let's see if we can find the spot. There should be a kick right here. When the kick comes in, you can see it moving already. It like bumps up to the, like into you. The cool thing about, for one, you need good artwork, right? I got good artwork commissioned. The artwork itself was like $300 worth every penny, because it just makes everything look better. What it also does is it gives it this 3D effect. With all of the effects that I managed to put on there, I managed to give it like a 3D effect. So it actually like comes at you when the kick plays. And this is all synced to the kick. I checked this with the BPM calculation that I'm doing in here. This is like synchronized to the kick drum. So if a kick drum plays, that's going to the front happens, which is a really cool effect. You see it all the time, right? Normally that's just done by like low passing your audio and then having it react to the volume. But that gives bad results. That's what I used to do for the last video that I did, the remix for Dash for the Elusive Gluon. one. Do you guys remember that I posted beginning of the year? Let me see if I can find that here. This is the Creator Studio page. If I go here, then you get this effect. This is like a bad way to do that. The way that I'm doing it here is calculation based, so it's a lot cleaner. Like this actually looks good. I have some renders of this already, which I'm not going to show you. I still want this to be a little bit of a preview. Why would I spend so much? You have no idea how much I spent on this album. You have no idea. This is a passion project. The reason why I spent $300 on artwork is because I want this to be an album that I can be proud of in 20, 30, 40 years. Right? This is my first album that I'm doing, so it's an experience. Like how people pay for, I don't know, games, right? Like how people spend money on games to make the games more fun. I spend that on this album to make this production more fun. Is the After Effects? Yes, this is all After Effects. And then there's a little bit more. This is the main generative part. So this is where I do all of the animation. This then goes into another composition where I do a little bit of what I call GUI, which is a funny term because obviously it's not an interface, but it's like the text here, the little play bar that shows how far in the song the playing is, stuff like that. And it does a little bit of like a wiggle. And it has like, okay, it has a bit of text here which says Projector Presents, and then it has finalized, thanks for watching, you know, good intro, good outro, stuff like that. This particular composition which does the glowing effect on the head, and then this is the GUI layer on top, basically. The cool thing is, I don't have to do this for each track, right? The cool thing is, what I can do is I want to make a new music video. I just duplicate this project, remove some of these keyframes, throw in the ones for that specific project, and then set all of the timings, right? Set all of the outros to the length of the track, and then shorten the video, and then it's done. I don't have to reanimate anything anymore. So tonight I'm making all of the other music videos. I did 6 of them this morning. Well, I did 5 of them this morning. This one was already done. And then tonight after the stream, right now when I'm finishing up, I will do all of the other ones up until 13. There's 13 tracks on the album. Is it going to pay back? Absolutely not. At least I don't plan on getting it back. This is purely a passion project. Unless, you know, people like you guys start supporting me massively and we start to actually grow an audience and I start being able to do gigs and stuff like that, this stuff is never going to pay itself back. But that was not the goal. This wasn't to make money. I just want to put my art out there. And this is my first big project to actually do it, and I'll probably never do it again in this way, because this took me over 2 years, this whole album. Like, I started the first production at the start of COVID, basically. And yes, I did take like half a year, that break that I took from YouTube, that also went into this production. So are people taking back their likes? Not now. We were on such a good strike. Yeah, actually, that's back down to 17. What the fuck? That makes no sense. Strange. Doesn't matter. Maybe it's just like a bug or something, or an issue on YouTube side. YouTube is very particular with counting likes and stuff like that. It will probably not update correctly up until a few hours after I finish the stream. It's the same with videos. Whenever I post a video, the first hour and a half is like view count, subscriber count, everything. Monetization stuff takes 2 days to process, like properly, right? Like if I go to my analytics, revenue, the last revenue that I have is for the 25th. Takes 2 days to update. So it might be a YouTube thing. No, they wanted to give you more likes, but then they took it away, and then, yeah. There used to be a bug on, was it Fallout 76? Where you could buy something. It's like an online game, right? So you could buy something, and then it would take away your money, and then you could sell it again, and it wouldn't, or you could, no, it was Arma, sorry. There was a thing on Arma, which is like an online simulator for military, so also a game, right? Like a big, Arma 3 is like a very big map, military simulator kind of game. You were able to buy a rifle, and it wouldn't take away your money, and then you would sell it again, and it would give you the money. Or it wouldn't take away the rifle itself, and you could sell it, and then like it would sell it again. There used to be also, I think, an issue with YouTube where you could pump up the likes as well in that way, right? You could click like very, very fast a couple of times, and it would show up likes, like it would count up the likes as if it were multiple people each liking it separately, and then but after a while it would reset, and it would recheck all of the likes. Because if you think about it, what YouTube is doing is, with likes and views and all of those statistics, it takes a long time to process, because there's not one server that counts it, right? If you guys are in like United States of America, then you're looking at a different server than the people here in Europe. And even in between Europe, it's not like it's one YouTube server. Unhidden? Why? sexchat69.site. If I just hide the user like this, can you guys still see it, or do I need to actually delete the message? Because I can still see it. I can just click view deleted message, and then it shows up again. It has disappeared. Okay, perfect. That's what I want. We've had that 2 streams in a row now. They must be targeting me. They must know something that I don't know. Right, guys. I think I'm going to end it here. It's been 4 hours. We did some production stuff. We did some other stuff as well. This is, I think, is very interesting. I hope you guys like this kind of stuff as well. The behind the scenes thing of what it takes to make the videos that I'm planning to make. Obviously you guys haven't seen it yet, but that will be soon. Hopefully December it's coming out. I am in the final stretch of actually finishing up everything, and I'm just going to put it out. So thank you everybody for being here. This was a very, very successful stream. We had some great chatting. You guys were really active today, which I really, really like. Especially because it was during the week. Normally Sunday streams are a little bit more popular. But it's nice to see that everybody was here. So thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next one. Oh, again, Sunday I'll just stream again. See you guys.